Welcome to the Weird But Wonderful podcast. This is last week's episode. If you'd like to get today's episode, you can head over to patreon.com/oneweirdpodcast and get episodes a week early by supporting the show. Either way, enjoy the episode. I'll talk to you next time. Peace. Weird But Wonderful podcast. Welcome back. It's your weekly dose of weirdness with me, James Carline. On this show, we take a journey into the minds of strange people doing strange things, and it's great news. It's good news all round. Hear ye, hear ye. We're out of lockdown. Things are gradually reopening, and, you know, the streets are flooded with potentially disease-ridden people. The pubs are open, asterisks, depending upon where you are. The restaurants also open, massive asterisks, depends on where you are and if they even want to open them. But we're out, we're back, we're in the mix. Is it too early? Yes, but no, not sure. So, you know, you're out at restaurants now. Obviously, you're at one right now. Take a look around and look at all the mannequins. Very much like that Will Smith movie. You know, the one with the people and they huddle in corners and he talks to the mannequins and there's a dog. He's got that dog and then the dog dies. You know that one? I can't remember the name of it. But a restaurant, The Inn at Little Washington in Virginia, a 3 Michelin star restaurant, they're planning to open their doors, but they don't want people to feel weird about the whole social distancing thing, you know? Me and a family member, friend or loved one, or even by myself, I'm just sitting at a table, you know, getting some lunch or some dinner, and I take a look around and see all these empty seats, and don't I feel uncomfortable? Oh, I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable if these empty seats were filled with mannequins. Who came up with that? That's not a good idea. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. Imagine walking past a restaurant from the street and going like, oh, it's pumping in there. It's pumping and grooving, filled with people. Let's jump in. Let's see who's in the terrifying mix in here. This is House of Wax. I've seen the film House of Wax. I know exactly how walking into a room with lifelike people goes. It's real people under the mannequins. I've seen that movie. No, thank you. Highly rated restaurant says it plans to fill empty tables with mannequins to make social distancing rules less awkward when customers return. Yeah, that makes me feel less awkward. Sam, I cannot finish my fucking steak. This dude just keeps staring at me. Oh, it's a mannequin. I feel much better about this. When the restaurant gets the green light to start serving customers inside its dining room, Chef Patrick O'Connell plans to seat empty tables with mannequins, the news outlet reported. O'Connell says the mannequins will be decked out in vintage 1940s style outfits. So even better, I get to initially confuse them with a ghost from the 1940s, scream, panic, and then go, brought back to reality where I feel much more comfortable. It's just a mannequin in 1940s garb. Thanks, Patrick. Much more appropriate and far less strange. And I feel much more comfortable. Yes, I'll have the niçoise salad, please. And if I could get those 2 fucking mannequins to just turn their head a little bit so they don't look me in my eyes. The eatery, which features 23 guest rooms, also has plans to capitalize on its 20-acre property by offering picnic lunch and garden tours. Are there going to be mannequins also having picnic lunches? Because quite frankly, if I'm having a picnic outside by myself, thanks to the social distancing rules, I'm going to feel awkward and uncomfortable. Please have mannequins at some kind of summer picnic party around me. Thank you. Doing what we can, you know, to get our businesses back up and running during and or post COVID. what are we, Mid-Cov? We're Mid-Cov right now. These are Mid-Cov solutions to Mid-Cov problems. So is it terrifyingly strange and weird? Yes. Would I feel uncomfortable if a mannequin is staring me in my face while I'm trying to eat my niçoise salad? Yes. What is a niçoise salad? I don't know. But hey, you know, we like to try and understand people here. Let's dive into some more Mid-Cov solutions. You know, I want to see what maybe even the government, foreign governments are suggesting, you know, as potential solutions Mid-Cov. Like the Dutch government, which has now issued new guidance to single people seeking intimacy, because, you know, it's a lonely time. It's a lonely time. You know, you're stuck indoors. You're not allowed to go out, you know, although those are starting to be lifted, but then you still can't get, like, you know, near people. It's still like the whole 1.5 meter rule thing. So the Dutch government did tell all of its citizens, you know, this is sort of like their solution, I guess, an official solution, an official governmental solution for a nation to find a fuck buddy. Now they said that. They said you need a sex buddy. Look you fucking Mid-Cov lonely fucks. Get a sex bud. They said sex buddy, but it's like, we know what they mean. They just couldn't say fuck buddy. But then I love this article runs with people running along like a track, and then also says keep distance 1.5 meters. So it's very strange. Again, like I did preface this whole sort of time with not wanting to talk about Cove, but Cove seems to be in and throughout everything. So, you know, and hey, who doesn't like a Mid-Cov solution? Like, get a fuck buddy. But then how do I still enforce the 1.5 meter rule? Couldn't do that. It's weird to me that there are these contextual rules around our Cove solutions. Like, hey, are you going to a funeral? You can only have 20 people. Are you going to a wedding? Only 10 people. Like, it's not, hey, are you fucking? Okay, well then you guys can touch then. You strangers. Dutch governmental solution for a nation of people. Are you single? Get a fuck bud. Okay? And you can be closer than 1.5 minutes. I don't understand. The contextual rules don't make any sense. Surely a virus, disease, whatever it is, not a scientist, don't at me. Surely this thing is like, well, not surely. It is binary, right? You either get it or you don't get it. It's not like the virus goes, okay, well, there's 10 people over here, but, oh, no, they are at a wedding, so just going to go over here where there's 20 people at a funeral. It's just on or off. So I don't understand the contextual rules around things like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get to the real juice, which is the Dutch government telling everybody to fuck, which is, man, would have loved to have seen that press release. The National Institute for Public Health and the Environment, so good at reading, RIVM, says Singletons should come to an arrangement with one other person. Hey, don't get greedy, you fucks. This is a National Institute of Public Health and Environment statement. Love that they call single people singletons. Think that's great. On board with that. You should make an arrangement with another human being where you two have Mid-Cov and health driven, you know, health-minded sex. And that is the official stance of the National Institute of Public Health and Environment, the Dutch government. Thank you. Shorter slogan. Hey, singletons. Fuck. Oh, no, can't see, bad slogan. Because you're only supposed to fuck one person. Ignore me. But pairings should avoid sex if one of them suspects they have the coronavirus, the advice says. Well, yeah, dude. Yeah. Yes. Hey, you guys should fuck, but not if you think one of them has the coronavirus. Yes. Yeah. No, I got that. That's pretty fucking straightforward. And should apply to most things. If I think the person at Coles serving me has the coronavirus, maybe don't get served by them anymore, you know? If you suspect the person that you're about to have sex with or have been having sex with has the coronavirus, maybe don't have sex with them anymore. You know, so just simple rules. Simple rules. The guidance comes after critics said there was a no sex advice for singles. After critics said, so there was public criticism of the fact. Yes, Dutch government. I have a question. As a member of the Dutch community, sure, we're going with it. I have noticed that the National Institute of Public Health and Environment, and also the Dutch government, have been suspiciously quiet about singleton fucking since Cove kicked off. Why is that? Critics. Guidance comes after critics said there was no sex advice. Suspiciously quiet, Dutch government. You've released many white papers and many documents about couple fucking during Cove. Why no singleton fucking? Answer me that, thank you. Social distancing measures have been in place in the Netherlands since the 23rd of March when the government imposed what it called an intelligent or targeted lockdown. The rules were far less strict than those of the country's neighbours, permitting small gatherings of people if social distancing was observed. But in guidance published on May 14th, the RIVM said, quote, "It makes sense that as a single person, you also want to have physical contact during the pandemic." This is definitely a single person who works for RIVM. Put this forward. Guarantee it. 100%. Guys, yeah, I've been receiving a lot of emails lately about how we're not addressing the fact that single people should be able to fuck. So, hey, this isn't me. Hey, guys, I swear. Swearsies for truesies. Wouldn't lie to ya. These are emails that I've gotten. I personally don't care, you know. I'm busy, you know, with National Institute of Public Health and Environment stuff, you know. So not me, but, you know, concerned constituents, you know, really been through so many emails, so many bloody emails. So if we could sort of just come up with some kind of national guideline on the physical contact of singletons, great term for single people, by the way, you know, sort of during the pandemic, I feel like, you know, that'd be really good. So if we could maybe just, and again, absolutely nothing to do with me. This isn't a me thing. Guys, I'm so randy to fuck. Can we please? Okay. Should singletons choose to engage in sexual contact, precautions should be taken to minimize the risk of coronavirus exposure, the authorities said. Discuss how best to do this together, the RIVM guidance says. For example, meet with the same person to have physical or sexual contact. For example, a cuddle buddy or sex buddy provided you are free of illness. A cuddle buddy has made it sound suspicious. I don't like the term cuddle buddy. It sounds like someone's up to something. Sex buddy, you know exactly what you're there for. Cuddle buddy, what are you up to? Make good arrangements with this person about how many other people you both see. The more people you see, the greater the chance of spreading the coronavirus. You got to do a little numbers game. Hey, look, if you're going to be my cuddle buddy, this needs to be exclusive. Can we promise that we will be exclusive cuddle buds with each other, yes or no? The Rhythm has also issued advice for people whose long-term partners suspect they have contracted the coronavirus. Quote, don't have sex with your partner if they've been isolated because of suspected coronavirus infections, it says. Nailed it. I was wondering when they would address that. Oh, a lot of stuff about what single people should do if they find out the person they're about to have sex with has the coronavirus. But what if I've been with someone for 5 years? Then what? Oh, don't have sex with them. Oh, okay, pretty straightforward. Sometimes people say things and you just think, hey, why'd you have to say that? Kind of thought that was pretty straightforward. Hey, guys, if you think the person that you're going to have sex with has coronavirus, and I know it's difficult, but try not to fuck them. Food for thought. Quote, sex with yourself or with others at a distance is possible. How do I have sex with myself from a distance? Riddle me this. Answer me these questions 3. The Dutch government. Question the first. How the fuck do I fuck myself from a distance? From a distance. How do I have sex with myself? And I'd pose it to them in song format. Just so it's more enjoyable for everyone, at the panel. Sex with yourself or with others at a distance is possible. I would like a detailed guide with visuals on how I would have sex with myself from a distance. Thank you. It adds suggesting, quote, erotic stories and masturbating together as possible solutions. One of my favorite erotic stories is Maynard Big and the secret beneath the veil that he's wearing. I would very much like to commission someone to turn my friend's book into a 50 Shades of Grey style. You know how 50 Shades of Grey is the fucky fuck sexy book version of the vampire one, Fuck. Doing good today, remembering a lot of stuff. It's going to come to me. What is it? Do I Google it? Breaking Dawn. Breaking Dawn? No. Isn't Breaking Dawn one of the ones? This is going to bug me. Okay, it's Stephanie Meyer. Stephanie... What are the name of the books that you wrote? You're listening to this screaming it at me. Twilight! Fuck me! Oh my God. Can you believe how long it takes to do things on this podcast? Ridiculous. Twilight. You know how... Okay, all of that just to say, you know how 50 Shades of Grey is the sexy, fucky fuck smut version of Twilight? I want to pay someone to turn David's book into the 50 Shades of Grey version of the book. Not even worth it. You know what I mean? It takes so long to get things out sometimes, and it's just like... And then at the end, it would just be you going, okay... And that's it, But hey, don't have sex with people who have the coronavirus. Try erotic stories. That's one way. It's what I like to do. It's my preferred method. On Monday, the Netherlands began the first stage of 5-phase lockdown exit plan. Guys, now we're getting into regular old Rona stuff. Okay? Snooze. But, I want, and this podcast, unfortunately, doesn't have the social power that it needs to for this to get on Scott Morrison's desk. But I can't help but feel like Scott Morrison and the current Liberal Party have been suspiciously quiet about what we should be doing around fucking Mid-Cov. So that's all I'm going to say. If you want to write to your local member and you feel empowered to do so, then I absolutely agree you should. I'm drafting one up on the other side of my monitor as we pod. And, quite frankly, it's time to end the suspicious silence, I don't even know what to... I'm in a relationship. I don't even know what to do. I need the government to tell me, you know? So, again, write your local members. We need some guidance from our government here around singletons, around couples. What do we do? What do we do about fucking Mid-Cov? Don't let me know, because I want it to come from the top, is what I'm saying. You know, I want an official governmental press release or statement that gives me a breakdown of what to do fucking wise for Mid-Cov. So thank you. It's hard to know whether you stay on... Well, these are all Cove-related topics, you know. And this one does sort of... We talked about fucking... And we could sidestep into the fact that the South Korean football team for Seoul have apologized for filling their stadium with mannequins, which actually turned out to be sex dolls. And again, if you do go to patreon.com/oneweirdpodcast, just a wonderful sea of photos of clothed, posed, all very intricately posed and differently posed sex dolls that are filling a stadium. Some of them are holding signs. That's the best. You know, because look, clearly football's returned from the coronavirus pandemic. Again, we're starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel for, because we are Mid-Cov. But again, that second wave could just come in and really block that hole out. So I'm personally still staying home. I'm not risking it. I'm not being one of the... Can we address the fact that it's the tricklings of reopenings is quite obviously to test to see, like, okay, how many people get sick when we sort of like start to reopen stuff? And can we handle it, you know? And I don't plan on being the guinea pig, because quite frankly, these husky lungs are not going to survive the coronavirus, okay? I smoked for years, which put me in the hospital with fucking pneumonia in like 2014. I think I've been in the hospital twice with pneumonia from smoking. But the last time was in... One, I think, was like an overnight stay. But like one in 2014, I was in the fucking hospital for a fucking week. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I guess I'm done smoking now because my lungs suck. Thanks a lot, lungs. Loved cigarettes. I'll tell you this much. Okay. And hey, if you're trying to quit smoking right now, skip the fuck ahead, because we are definitely about to romanticize cigarettes for 2 seconds. There is nothing in this world better than a cigarette with a coffee, a cigarette after a meal, cigarette after sex. Like, you know what I mean? It's the best. Kick off your morning with a cigarette and a coffee. Oh, it's heaven. It's heaven. Did you just have a delicious meal? Go and have a cigarette. Oh, it's the best. It's the best. And these fucking stupid lungs couldn't take it anymore, so I had to stop. Tried vaping for a bit. Turns out my lungs suck too much for that too. Thanks a lot, lungs. So basically, I say all of that to say this. If I get the COVID, it's going to take me down, okay? I'm not in the best shape, you know, health-wise, and I've got sucky lungs, so I've got to avoid it. But what I don't need to avoid, smooth, rough transition. And everyone's so, people are so obsessed with sport. Like, get me sport back on. I need me sport. Cool it. Go watch reruns or something, okay? It's not a big deal. We're all going without stuff right now. I put a post on Instagram the other day, actually, about, like, what's the thing that you've been missing the most? I didn't really think that I would, like, miss anything, but I've been missing the cinema. I do love going to the cinema, so that's been my thing. Jump on that post, Instagram.com/One Weird Podcast, Instagram.com, just at One Weird Podcast on Instagram. What have you been missing? Mid-Cov, what are you craving? What are you craving coming out of Cove? Me, it's the cinema. But anyway, I digress. Football was returned from the coronavirus pandemic because fuck yeah, sports, with not so much of a bang, but more of a whimper, with fans not allowed in the grounds and cardboard cutouts replacing them. That's pretty good. I like that. Do they still do do they cut to the crowd, or they just go like, oh, don't bother. No, don't bother doing it. We can see that they're cardboard cutouts. Stands are empty. Music is played over the PA systems with no cheering, and the whole thing has lacked atmosphere. That would be weird, actually, watching a soccer match, football match, you know. Do they mean, I don't know what type of, well, it's FC. So, yeah, soccer, football. It would be weird watching a game of soccer and not hearing the, like, there's generally, like, I used to play soccer. I used to be big into soccer. So there was this, whenever you watch soccer, there's sort of like a general sort of like hiss, hard to explain, of the crowd. Like or there's like people have like, what are they called? Vuvuzelas, like the big horns and shit. And now I have to look that up. Vuvuzela. It is a vuvuzela. Thank you. Yes, got one right. Yeah. There's a general sort of like sound of the crowd, and then always chants, you know, every time the back of life is Ryan Giggs, you know, stuff like that. So it would be very strange. Actually, I'd love it. I'm gonna see if I can find a clip and put it on the Patreon of a dead silent crowd, nothing, no sound or whatever, just people kicking the ball around. Oh, because it is a very, I don't know, soccer's a very like atmospheric thing, but the stands are empty, music is played out over the PA system, no cheering, it's lacking atmosphere. To be expected, really, but at least in South Korea, they've seemingly gone all out to create a certain air to their games. A sexy air, if you will. FC Seoul packed their stadium out with mannequins ahead of their clash against Gwangju FC. But eagle-eyed social media users suggested the dolls in question had a very different purpose to modeling clothes. It was claimed the figures were actually life-size sex dolls, though how they knew this for certain is less clear. Turns out, however, they were right, with FC Seoul issuing an apology on Instagram in which they blamed the supplier for the mix-up. 2016 K-League winners FC Seoul inadvertently, I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, whatevs. It's probably annoying someone. If I'm saying it incorrectly, it's definitely annoying somebody. Anyway, FC Seoul inadvertently used sex dolls rather than fashion mannequins to help fill empty stands this weekend. The club has apologized. Both the club and the supplier are pointing fingers at each other. Oh, how damn supplier. We definitely said cardboard cutouts, but they sent us 600 sex dolls, and, you know, I just don't know what I'm going to do with them now. You know, crumbs. All right, I guess I'll take one or two home, you know. Not that I want to, but it's like they're just filling up the workshop. So it's like, you know, got to get them out of here somehow. But there is a strong conviction that these fans are actually sex dolls made by a sex doll company. I hope it's not true, but if it is, it'll be a huge shame. Why would it be a shame? It would be hilarious. The fact that someone fucked up that bad. At what point, like, they had to have known when they were setting them up, because they've set them up so intricately. Some of them are holding signs. Some of them are like, woo, like mid-cheer pose. Another posted, seriously though, imagine the thought process involved in filling your stadium with female sex dolls in football kits and thinking it's a good idea. Classic. A classic, but I love that they fucked it up and they were like, look, We have to. We can't not use them. I didn't pay $700,000 in fuck dolls to not have them holding up signs and wearing our football jerseys. Put them out there anyway. A fellow user with an intimate knowledge of South Korea football said, and here I was worrying that the most embarrassing thing about K-League being on the international stage would be the performance in the opening 45 minutes. Hey-oh! Classic sports riff. It was also claimed that some of the dolls were holding placards promoting a local adult shop. If that, because I can't, obviously can't read what their placards are saying, but if that is the case, there's no way this was a bungle. This is the club have taken on a risque new, backer to advertise, and they wanted to just see what they could get away with. And now they're like, crumbs. It was the supplier. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, why were the Mannequins also promoting a sex shop? Again, that crafty supplier, who knows? Who knows? Let's not look into it or, point fingers at anyone or try and find blame. And take us on out of here. Again, you got to, everyone's adapting, whether, you've picked up an Apple TV subscription, an Apple TV Plus subscription, because you're changing it up from Netflix, and then you've gone, oh fuck, there's only like 8 shows here, and then you've really fucked up, and you've dropped the ball on that. Or maybe you've started exercising because you're like, fuck it, I'll get in shape. Or maybe you've ramped up the calories because you're like, fuck it, I'll get out of shape. I'm going to surprise people, but in a way they don't expect to be surprised when Cove's over. When Cove's over, I want to be 2 times the size. And so everyone goes, what happened? So I'm just sort of workshopping some ways that you could probably, subvert people's expectations. But each to their own, up to you. A Detroit priest is taken to spraying holy water from a squirt gun to maintain social distancing, but also to keep you in the loop with Jesus. I don't really know why they do the spritzing. A Roman Catholic priest in the Detroit area has taken aim at his parishioners in a bid to maintain social distancing during the COVID pandemic, using a squirt gun to shoot holy water. Just get you on a drive-by blessing. Christ be with you. Get out of here. Photos posted on social media by the St. Ambrose Church show the Reverend Timothy Pelk shooting water into a car window as it stopped by the steps of the church. He wore a face mask, face shield, and rubber gloves as further precautions against spreading the coronavirus. Or were they precautions for repercussions? Did he think someone was going to roll up there? This guy's got a fairly rinky-dink fucking, $2 Kmart looking squirter pistol. He was afraid someone was going to show up there with the Nerf, juice him up. I don't know who's still doing water guns or what they're called. I'm assuming Nerf's got one. And just hit him with a fucking blast him with a super soaker. And Jesus be with you, Timothy Pelk. Each to their own. The photos of the priests at the church in Grosse Pointe Park were taken at Easter, but have recently gone viral and inspired memes online. One shows the 70-year-old priest amid the fires of hell directing the squirt gun at devil-like figures. The best. Photoshop. When you get someone doing something in real life that's already wackadoo, and then you throw Photoshop into the mix, a star is born. I think that's what that movie's about. Pelk told BuzzFeed News that he was a little concerned about how the Vatican might react when the photos of him squirting holy water began circulating widely on the internet, but he said, I haven't heard anything yet. Hey, guys, no news is good news, right? I'll keep on spritzing. He was afraid what the Vatican was going to say. Now, Tim, you know that thou shalt not spray lest ye be sprayed. So we can't help you if someone rocks up with a Super Soaker 9000 and really blasts the shit out of you. Christ be with you. The idea was to find a way to continue a tradition of blessing Easter baskets despite the pandemic. One photo shows Pelk standing behind a car with its hatchback door open, shooting water at a basket of flowers. He said he has a pretty wacky mind and pretty accepting congregation. Okay. Don't know if I like a reverend saying that he has a wacky mind for historical reasons, but that's fine. We'll suspiciously move past it. The church and surrounding communities have taken the pandemic seriously, Pelk said. Parishioners have tied blue ribbons on trees at the church for each person who has died of COVID-19 in Michigan. That number is now approaching 5,000. Well, way to take it down a notch, Tim. You're out here super soaking people. Michigan has seen some armed protesters hold demonstrators at the state capitol against the governor's stay-at-home measures, but Pelk said they did not reflect the mood in his community. Hey guys, vibe check for the room, for my parishioners. That's not our vibe, okay? Get out of here. He told BuzzFeed he'd hoped to begin holding in-person masses next Sunday, but was struggling to find churchgoers to help him stage the socially distanced services. Quote, people are saying they don't want to come out just yet, Pelk said. Still a lot of fear out there, and I don't blame them. I don't blame any of you, but if you'd like a drive-by spritzing, please come through and Christ be with you. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you are a supporter on Patreon, stay tuned. Producer patrons, you're about to get an ear full of bonus content. Very much like the Marvel films. Does anyone still care about them? I personally haven't in a while. Still seeing them, though. Still seeing them. But it's just because, I'm in too deep at this point. And I'm trying to keep bun in my head. Do you remember Sum 41? You don't. And that's how it should be. No, Patreon supporters from the producer level, bonus content about to come right for you, for your ears. You're about to get spritzed. Is that something you want? Maybe. But if you're not a supporter on Patreon just yet, you're digging what I'm doing here, maybe you want to support the show. Maybe you want to get your hands on bonus goodies like the show notes and the images and stuff that we talked about, or you want to get your hands on early episodes, behind the scenes, bonus content, any of it, go check out the tiers on patreon.com/oneweirdpodcast. Might be something in there that tickles your fancy and you might want to support the show today. So that'd be great if you did that. Or if you just want to follow along on the socials, at One Weird Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Keep up to date with all the goings on. Stay in the loop. Slap a follow on the soch. Come chat. Come hang. You can also find me at My Pixel Persona on Instagram and Twitter. And, finally, don't forget to share the show. Word of mouth is how all good viruses spread. And leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts, which I think is predominantly Apple/iTunes. But wherever you get your podcasts, leave a 5-star review. It helps people like you think this is not nothing, and that's good. And it also makes those GD algorithms go, something here. So that's also good too. Thank you so much for listening. This has been episode 64. Come back for episode 65, and I'll see you next time.